Alright, ladies and gentlemen. So today we're going to talk about introduce yourself. This is going to be part 2. My name is Ketan, and before we go ahead, we're going to have a quick recap of what exactly we discussed in the last video, all the do's and don'ts about the introduction yourself. So let's have a quick look at it. Alright, so in the last video we actually discussed that whenever you open up like to answer, you introduce yourself. This is not going to be a flow, so you will not be talking in this manner or in this flow. So as I suggested earlier, you should not be talking about your name, your family, native, schooling, so on and so forth. Because this is pretty much monotonous, and this has always been a prototype. Now, as a panelist, I will not be really interested in listening to all these things, because I know the same thing is on your resume. So I'm just kind of giving you a little bit background for those who have not seen my last video. Nevertheless, so now let's understand how one should start whenever there is a question that has been asked in your PI. Tell me about yourself. Now, you all know that this is one of the most important questions. This is mother of all important questions. Now, let's understand the importance of this question first of all, even before we go ahead. Now, why do they ask you these kind of questions? Most of the time, it has been, it's a misconception, it's a myth in the corporate world also, and in the B schools as well, is that, they try to ask you this question, tell me about yourself, because they want to have some time lag. They want some time to just pass away. So the candidate comes in, he sits down, he takes his own time, and he gets settled and all that stuff. Actually, looking at a point of view from the panelist, why I would ask this question to a person or to a student is that I'm more interested in actually understanding him or her as a person, instead of understanding his biodata or his schooling and all that stuff. Why do we ask this question to you guys, you students? Why do we ask this question is that we want to understand you as a person, who you are exactly. We want to understand your qualities, we want to understand your merits, your deep merits, and the most important thing, the multi-billion-dollar thing that we are so much interested in understanding is that how you can be a value addition to my B school or to the company that we have on the campus, which would look forward to hire you. Okay, so now first of all, understand this. Okay. Why do we ask this question? So here is a candidate. So I have a candidate in here. Okay, I am a B school. I can be SPs or like KGs or like IIMs or whatsoever. Now I am interviewing you. Now I am not looking at you having any personal interest in you. Okay, we never do that. We definitely never do that. We have nothing to do with you as a person. We have no fucking personal interest in you. The only thing that I'm trying to understand as a panelist is that, okay, fine, if I hire this ABCD person, okay, kind of a profile that he has, okay, is that suitable to the corporates that are visiting my college? Okay, so I feel that this guy is placeable, this guy can get a placement. I'm pretty happy with it. Okay, so first thing that I'm looking at is that, okay, do I have a profile that suits his requirement and that suits his profile? That's number one. So I'm directly talking about, or I'm directly thinking about companies which visits my campus, like PepsiCo and Goldman and the Deutsche and whatsoever. That's number one. Number two, does this guy actually fit into my culture? Every college has its own particular culture. So I'm looking at two things. Number one, does he actually fit into my culture? Second, will he get a placement in the companies who all visits my campus? So these two important things. Don't think that you are there to impress these panelists, or you are there because you want to impress them and want to convince them, no, please take me, I'm the best candidate, I am the best, something like that. No, it's all bullshit. Nothing happens like that. Okay, the first thing that I want to tell you guys is that a lot of coaching institutes, what they focus on is impress the panelist. Okay, yeah, a lot of trainers, a lot of lecturers, a lot of coaching institutes, they'll kind of tell you guys, okay, talk about your profile, talk about these and that and all that stuff, which will impress them. This is utter nonsense. Okay, this is utter nonsense. If you're trying to impress me, okay, I will not be happy at all. But what I tell my students is, like, most of the time, guys, you should not be looking at impressing them, but you should try to express yourself as much as you can. Okay, now it's a little dangerous because most of the time when students start expressing themselves, they either get emotional or they lose a track of their entire interview. So this is a little bit problematic. So you got to be very smart, to deal with them here. So first thing that I want to tell you guys is that the interviewer that you're facing, the panel that you're facing, they're thinking about two things actually. One, is he placeable? Will he be able to get placement into the companies that we have on the campus? Secondly, he as a person, as a human being, how his values, his principles, are they really suitable for my college's culture? Fair enough. Now, okay, before I go ahead, I just want to tell you guys one thing is that, so for example, you are getting into a Wellinger, okay, and you are telling in the interview that, okay, I want to work with investment bank and I want to be a trader. Trust me, you will never, ever be selected in Wellinger, because Wellinger does not have any investment bank coming on the campus, and even if it does, it's mostly a KPO kind of a profile, which is back-end profile. Now trust me guys, when you tell a college like Wellinger that I aspire to be an investment banker, the college has been taken aback, because they know if this guy is coming with the motto of getting into an investment bank and I have no investment bank coming on my campus, then this guy is going to be unplaceable, or this guy will be liability. So this is going to impact my placement record eventually. So do not tell them about the profiles and all that things which may create problems for you at the time of your personal interview. Okay, now how to deal with that, I will be helping you guys eventually, but let's try and get the business done out here. So the video talks about tell me about yourself, so we're going to talk about it predominantly. Alright, so in a nutshell, okay, so you're not going to talk about your name, your family, native, all that shit. You will be only taking into consideration that my panelist thinks about the companies that I am aiming at and the culture of this college, so on and so forth. So these are two things. The most important, you will never try yourself to impress, or you will not try to impress anybody else out there, but you will try to express yourself as much as you can. Now, let's move ahead and let's understand. Alright. There are a couple of ways that you can define yourself, okay? There are a couple of ways that you can start with your beliefs. The first thing that I would say, if you want to define yourself, talk about your quality, okay? Now, everybody has some or the unique quality. So this is not something really catchy. You can talk about, I'm kind of a person, if I want to define myself, I think I would define myself as a perseverant person, If I were to define myself, I would define myself as an honest person. If I were to define myself, I would define myself as a person who never give up. Something like that. So just tell them, how would you define yourself as a person, who you are when you tell that, okay, I'm Ketan, but okay, fine, tell me who you are as a person, So yeah, I can make a use of one of my quality, but I think the most, the cool way I would say is, start with a shloka if you can. Now, this may sound a little awkward, or this may sound, some people tell me, isn't this a little bit funny? Okay, if it's funny, don't take it, leave it. Simple. So it's not going to be funny, guys. Okay, let's have a look at it. Okay, if I were to define myself, how I will do it. So if somebody asks me, okay, tell me something about yourself. So I would say that if there is something defines me, as a person, first of all, I would love to quote a shloka from Gita which says, "Karmanyavadika raste ma phaleshu kadachana," and I'm going to take a pause then. Okay, so the moment I tell them this shloka here, it's a powerful shloka by the way, and I strongly believe in it. The moment I want to tell them this shloka, they're going to pay attention to me, because something is new happening now. As a panelist, I've been sitting here from last 2 hours and everybody comes to me and tell me my name is these and that and that and that. Now here is this chap, he tells me, if anything defines himself, is a shloka from Gita. Wow, this is something important, something interesting. Okay, so the moment I take a pause, the next question is, okay, what does that mean? Okay, now here the ball is at your court. So you are driving your interview now. Okay, now what Karmanyavadika raste explains. Now it means that you should always believe in doing your job perfectly without caring about the final results. But we will not be talking about we will not be explaining in this manner. So what I'm gonna do it is basically I'm gonna make it as karmas. Okay, so I'm someone who strongly believes in his karmas. Okay, and if I were to given a task, or if I were to perform something in my life, I will never ever look at the fruits of it or the results that I'm gonna get out of it, because the moment I look at the ends, or the moment I look at the result, I can manipulate my efforts. I can, can go more or less on my efforts. So I'm not going to have backward integration in my life. I'm not going to think about results at all. I'm only going to tell myself that, okay, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to give my 110% into it. So I'm a strong believer of karma. I don't believe in results, because I believe if I put my 110%, I'm definitely going to achieve whatever I want in my life. Okay. Now, this is the way I will be going ahead. Now, always remember, whenever you tell them this shlok and all that, it sounds pretty cool, but then you also need to understand that you attach a story or some example to it. Okay, so I always tell them, how do I believe in karma? So I tell them about my academics, which started improving from 10th, then 12th, and then graduation, being a topper, and so on and so forth. So I always tell them that karma. So first of all, what did you do? You told them this shloka, then you've taken them to the karmas. Okay, eventually you can start with introduction slowly and steadily, but always remember your opening line has to be awesome. Okay, your opening line has to be awesome. So you are somebody who believes in karmas, you always believe in putting your 110%. So if I were to explain this little bit more, I can also tell them that, who's my idol. Say Lance Armstrong, the guy, there's a book also, he was a winner of like 7 times the competition. So he mentioned in his autobiography that, if you want to achieve anything in your life, 100% is not enough. You got to give 110%. Okay, there are little negative sides of it also, but let's not talk about it. So I can kind of give these examples and make them a little bit more comfortable with this. So yeah, so this can be one of the shloka that you can start with, and once you tell them these things, you got to be very genuine with it, because they can catch you if you're lying, or you want to faking, or you're being honest with yourself. Okay. The second thing that I would say is that, now this shloka out here, this is pretty lengthy, but then I will only take these 2 lines, which says that, Utsahan Nishchayat Dhairyat. Now, if anybody is there who has to explain as a PI wala question, like introduce yourself, he can start saying that, all right, so say, my name is blah blah blah, and if there is something defines me, or what I have learned throughout my life in a career of last 20, 21, 22 years, there are 3 important things that has helped me to succeed or to achieve whatever I have achieved till date. And these 3 things are coming from one of the shloka from Gita, which is Utsahan Nishchayat Dhairyat. It means, if you want to perform anything, any task in your life, if you're going for this interview or MBA or whatsoever, you got to be energetic. So this is Utsahan, okay? So you got to be very, very energetic for it. If you are like half energetic, if you're down, trust me, you will never be able to give 110%. Fine? Nishchayat, a strong determination is very much important. And you got to be patient. Now this works smooth, because looking at current generation, everybody is so fucking impatient that they want to be CEO right after 5 years. They want to be AVP right after 3 years of their MBA. I mean, it's good to be, an ambitious guy, but then you got to be realistic also. The panelists which I have, like the panelists which I'm facing, they are ranging from the year of 30 till 60. Okay. Now, first of all, you're talking about Gita, so it's pretty awesome. Then you're talking about the shloka. It's even more awesome, because a guy, young guy sitting in front of me, like 22, 23 years old, he's talking about shloka and Gita. Wow, this is fantastic. And then you're talking about patience. So you are telling that everything that I want to achieve in my life, it has to be backed by an energy, the determination, and the most important, patience. You got to be patient to test the glory. You've got to be patient to kiss the glory and the success. So what's happening, guys, here is that eventually you are singing their song, you are telling them what they would love to hear, and that's how you're gonna kind of crack that ice, and that's how you're gonna get comfortable with them, and you're gonna make them comfortable with you. Okay, so step by step. So these guys with this age group, they would love your introduction. And then you say that tat karma pravartanat. It means when you talk about these 3 things, what is the base of these 3 things is your karma. Okay, you got to keep working hard towards it. You got to be perseverant towards achieving something. Fine. So that's how you introduce yourself. Okay. Either you start with your name, tell them a shloka, tell them something, guys, that talks about yourself. I've given a lot of interviews, I've taken a lot of interviews, but trust me, as a panelist, when the day gets over, we start our day by 10, we kind of, done by 8 p.m. But guys, trust me, whenever, as a panelist, when I'm done, I always have a recap of the entire day, and I always remember couple of students, there are like 5 to 7 students who I even kind of remember after that tiring day, but I remember them because they were fabulous, they were perfect, they were amazing while introducing themselves. They answered every question smartly. So always remember, your introduction, your personal interview is going to be so fucking kick-ass that panelists should remember you even after the interview is done. Now guys, what you should be striving for, what you should be working so hard, that your interview is gonna be a benchmark. So the next candidate who walks into that cabin or that classroom, the panelists will keep you as a benchmark. They should always compare you with the next candidate in the row. Fine. If you have that kind of an attitude, trust me, it takes only first 2 minutes to either make your interview or break your interview. So the first 2 to 3 minutes are going to be extremely vital for you guys, and this is the way I want you guys to introduce yourself. Fine. Okay, so my life is boring. I don't have good academics. I don't have good extracurricular. What should I do? How should I, try them? I don't even know shlokas. Now these shlokas may be taken by so many guys out there, so I don't want to have a copy paste. So what I'm going to do now? All right. So I'll give you a couple of more examples or ways to introduce yourself if you're not comfortable with this. Let's have a look at those things first. All right. So other ways to introduce yourself is that you can use tagline, any tagline. If you know a company which has a pretty cool tagline, I think you can definitely make a use of that. For example, say passion to perform. Okay, I find this pretty awesome. Passion to perform, definitely. Deutsche Bank. So passion to perform is a tagline that you can start with. Okay, so my name is so and so forth, and I strongly believe in a tagline used by one of the largest investment bank in the world, which says passion to perform. Definitely, if you want to do anything in your life, if you don't have a passion in it, I think you're not gonna get fruits of it, so and so forth. But what is important is at least you start saying something new. It should be catchy. Okay, it should make heck lot of sense. Try and avoid being nonsense out there. So you can use some taglines. If you have now, if you want to use some taglines, you can always, if you're my student in Pune, and if you want to have any tagline and introduce yourself, you can always come to me. You can tell me, okay, sir, this is my introduction. Do you think it's good? And I will help you. Okay, not a problem. Now, the second thing is, pretty good thing is, what you can do is, and this works every time. Story. Yo, give them a nice story about your life. See, your personal interview, take your personal interview as if you're going on a date. Okay, just losing yourself a little bit. Don't be so stressed about your interview and all that. Don't be nervous. Just say that, okay, you're going on a date. And when you go on a date, how do you start? You tell that person about yourself a lot. You can always say that, I come from, I belong to a small village in Maharashtra. I'm from a small town. Okay, I'm maybe a small town girl, or I'm from this small town. Journey till here, journey till today, for me, has been pretty much difficult, but at the same time it has been pretty much inspiring and motivational. I belong to that kind of a village, or I belong to that kind of a town, wherein I had to overcome lots of difficulties for my studies and for my finance, anything. What I'm trying to tell you is, just try to tell them about your story. Start from your schooling, okay, but don't tell them that you have done your schooling from. So how do you do it? Start from your schooling here. Okay, so yeah, so I think when I was in my 10th standard, I had to work very hard without electricity, and without having much amenities the way my other colleagues were enjoying. And from there, I decided that I want to do something in my life. So from schooling, then you go to the college level, then this is your junior college, then go to the undergraduate, like graduation, and then talk about your work ex. What I'm trying to tell you is, tell them a nice story which shows that you've been growing in your life over a period of time. Okay, here people worry about acads a lot. So say, the guy that I just made a mention about, Harshal. So Harshal is not that great in academics, but if you look at Harshal's case, 10th May he had 85%. Okay, and this went down in 12th and graduation. So when he asked me, sir, I have a big problem because my 10th is pretty cool, but then my 12th and my graduation, I completely suck at it. Then these guys are gonna question me that why do you have decline in your academics? So how can you counterattack this? So Harshal would say that for the fact till my 10th standard, I had a good academic record and I'm pretty happy about it. But after that, as my personality talks about me being a networking guy, me being being happy with everybody, teamwork, I indulged myself more into the extracurricular activities when I started my career in college. So if you look at my 11th, 12th and even my graduation, I have always been indulging in something or the other committee, some sports, some cultural events, so on and so forth. So I then kind of polished, I then kind of sharpened my inbuilt attitude of being networking with people, and networking is one of the most important part of your MBA. So guys, you are giving them what they want actually. So this is the way you can always defend yourself having poor academics. So even if your academics are going down, you can basically attach it to your story altogether. Okay, but your story got to be very, very interesting. Now, what is the use of telling people your story? First thing, it is not monotonous. Okay, I'm gonna give you an example of mom and dad. Okay, so here's dad and here's mom. Okay, now whenever you talk to your dad, how he talks to you, up to date, point to point, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, fine, done, get lost. That's how the dads are. Like they're very particular, point to point. But how mom talks to you, she creates a whole story altogether. She'll tell you like, when you were a kid, we went to this place and that place, that happened, I saved you, this happened and that. She creates a story and she makes it a little dramatic. Now, the point here is that whenever you tell anybody a story, that person will stick with you. He'll listen to you and he'll be always inquisitive that, okay, ab aage kya hua? Acha, ab baad mein kya bolega? Acha, okay. What happens, you get your own sweet, beautiful time to talk about yourself and सामने वाले को पता ही नहीं चलता when time got over. Okay, so the best thing I would say is story. So write down your story. What happened in your life. Don't be senti. Emotional मत होना. ऐसी चीजें मत बोलना कि problem में आ जाओ. Tell them ऐसी story, ऐसी चीजें बताओ, which will prove कि yeah, you are a fighter. You have done something good in your life. You're not those one of Tom, Dick and Harry. तो एक अच्छी सी story बनाओ. नहीं है फिर भी बनाओ. कुछ तो बनाओ, but got to be a little bit interesting, So yeah, so you can, in the end, you can tell them a nice story about yourself, and that's how you can start with your personal interview. And whenever you talk about story, I'll cite my example, is that getting into Symbiosis was one of the challenge for me, and so I always tell them, I think the first good thing that happened with me is, being rank 1 in my graduation. I did my graduation in the commerce stream, and, being first in Symbiosis was, always been difficult, but I think, I could do that. So that's where, first time I understood that, okay, nothing seems impossible in life. If you really give your 100%, you will get it. What did I do? Okay, I told them about my achievement. Okay, I told them about my rank. I also told them about Symbiosis, and I also told them about commerce as my graduation stream. यही बात अगर मैं कट टू कट बोलूँ कि मैंने सिम्बी से ग्रेजुएशन किया, मैंने कॉमर्स में किया, मैं रैंक 1 था, ये था वो था, अगेन आप मोनोटोनस में गए. आपको क्या करना है, आपका एकेडमिक स्कूलिंग जो भी है ना, जस्ट मेक अ बंडल ऑफ इट. एक बंडल बना दो, एक स्टोरी में बना दो और उनको दे दो, खत्म. बंडल इट, लीव इट. So everything that you want to tell, all your stories and all that, एक छोटा सा bundle बना के nicely tell them. It's interesting and they would love to listen to it. Okay, simple. So even if you want to, even if you want to talk about your work case, you can always tell them, when I was working with this client, on a multi-million project, I had a lot of difficulties. I had lots and lots of difficulties. Now these guys are interested to understand, अरे ऐसा क्या हुआ था इसकी life में. So tell them like I had difficulties with, the client was pretty rude, the client was rude. We were not having enough, resources. There was a high attrition, so on and so forth. Now they are inquisitive कि अच्छा फिर तुमने कैसे manage किया इसको. And then you tell them, how did you manage. तो आपने क्या करा, आपने आपके work case के बारे में बोला, company के बारे में बोला, कितने साल आपने काम किया, आपने वो भी बोला, आपने अपने project के बारे में बोला, आपने अपनी क्वालिटीज के बारे में भी बोला. But what did you do different than other candidate is that you put it in a story altogether. Simple. So that's what I want you guys to do. So whenever you want to introduce yourself, these are the things that you can use definitely to help yourself. Okay, and I'll give you a quick. Okay, guys. So here is a flow for you. Okay, define yourself first. Okay, tell them about all the kind of the belief that you have. Third thing, you can talk about your qualities. Here, being very specific about your strong points. Do not talk about your weaknesses at all. Number 4, यहाँ से पूरा आपका story चालू होगा. Fine. यहाँ से you will be telling them about your academics. Please do not make a mention of your academics. भले आपको 90 हो या आपको 60 हो, सर दोनों में प्रॉब्लम है. 60 अगर बोलोगे तो पूछेंगे 60 क्यों आया, 90 अगर बोलोगे तो सीधा टेक्निकल चीज़ों पे फायर करना चालू कर देंगे. सो प्ले सेफ, दोनों भी मत बोलो. तो यहाँ पे आप बात करो अकेड्स के बारे में छोटा सा, ठीक है. देन यू टॉक अबाउट योर एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज़, जो भी आपने किया था आपके स्कूल्स में और आपके कॉलेजेस में, ठीक है. थर्ड थिंग, इफ़ यू आर अ फ्रेशर, देन यू टॉक अबाउट योर प्रोजेक्ट्स. अगर कोई प्रोजेक्ट नहीं किया होगा तो एक प्रोजेक्ट को बना दो. Talk about your project. At number 4, you can talk about your work ex. Fine. Okay. Now, if you are a person with work ex, always remember this is going to be your last point of introduction. Okay. And if you're a fresher, I would always tell you that you should be ending yourself with project or extracurricular activities. Now, one free advice to all of you: have a look at this standard deviation or this bell curve, whatever you want to call it as. Okay. Now, what happens most of the time, the first 5% and the last 5% would matter a lot. Okay, so if I look at any person, okay, his listening abilities would be, whenever you start an introduction or whenever you start your PI, this part, this starting is most important and the ending is most important. Okay, now let me explain this to you guys. होता क्या है, whenever you start saying something, the attention of the panelist is quite higher at the beginning. बीच का जो भी आप बोलते हो ना, ये सब चीज़ें, ये अकैड्स वकैड जो भी है, फैमिली जो भी है, the attention kind of goes down and then it comes up at the end. So always make sure that your introduction and your ending of introduce yourself or whatsoever is going to be really, really kick-ass. Okay. There are a lot of videos, there are a lot of Google, there are a lot of articles and there are a lot of blogs. They always say that keep your introduction very short. Why? What is the use? कहाँ पे लिखा है कि मुझे इंट्रोड्यूस मेरे को मैं पूरा कर नहीं सकता? बकवास, ठीक है. आपको इंट्रोड्यूस, why people tell you that? Because आपका इंट्रोडक्शन इतना बोरिंग होता है कि सामने वाला he'll cut you. Because उनको पता है सेम चीज बोल रहा है भाई. So if your introduction is something which is new, something which is classy, something which is catchy, they will always let you talk. So introduce yourself can go round about 2 minutes also. It may go about 10 minutes also, depending how interesting you are as a person. Okay. At most of the time, this last point now, this will have a next question. And if your panelist is really, really, awesome and smart, they will find out some points from here and iske upar aapko question पूछेंगे. But always remember, last, as a work ex guy, you should talk work ex, isko bolo and then isko खींचो. Then explain. I did with this client, blah, 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 जो भी है, इसको explain करो. Then the next question will be on your work ex, and you know your work ex very well than the panelist. And if you are a fresher, projects or extracurricular activities. So they will ask you questions on these things. Fine. So we have discussed a lot of points today. I would say, if you still have any doubt, you can always you can always ping me up. You can always just like my Facebook page, and you can send any query out there. But always remember, now what is the takeaway for you guys? Okay, first of all, sit down with pen and pencil. Okay, the way I have given it to you, no, is this the all thing? No, this is not the all thing, because my PI session, like the sessions that I've taken in Pune, only introduce yourself has taken me 3 to 4 hours. Okay, because when I go profile by profile, so every student of mine, they get answer of these questions bana ke. So ready-made answer is there. They tell me their profile, I build it up for them and I give it to them. The only thing that my students need to do is copy and paste. That's it. So only one question of introduce yourself takes me around about 3 to 4 hours. to discuss all the aspects. I'm sure, you know, we can't do that on YouTube videos, by the way. But yeah, whatever I've tried my level best to give you guys, even if you do this, yeah, even if you do this, trust me, you will be in that top 30% वाला crowd. I can guarantee you. अगर आप इतना भी कर लोगे ना, you should be sorted. आप एक काम करो, इसका एक आंसर बना दो, make one answer, और जो भी आपका कंपटीटर है, जो भी बंदा जिसको भी कॉल आया है, just tell them कि यार मेरा एक introduce yourself का एक mock PI ले ले. And then you talk like this. Trust me, you'll get very good feedback. So I think I've covered most of the things. If you need any help, you can still get in touch with me. Okay, so I hope you guys go ahead and you will do this. Fair enough, and do it nicely. Make sure that you cover all the points, because this is going to be your like you know, make or break wala situation, guys. Alright, so here is a point 1. Here is a type 1. That is how you introduce yourself. Now, most of the people that say that okay, sir, I'll start with my name first. But for the fact it's been there and it's been there since so long, I would kind of, you know, give you a go ahead with this. So if you want to introduce yourself by you know, starting with your name, you can definitely do that. I'm gonna cite an example out here. It's one of my students from Pune branch. His name is Harshal. You know, Harshal he has a couple of calls from, you know, symbiosis colleges, and he's got a pretty good personality, pretty positive guy, and you know, whenever he meet people, he always greets them and all that. So he has a pretty, you know, positive persona, I would say. Now, if Harshal, okay, if Harshal has to introduce himself in the interview by taking help of his name a little bit, so how we should be doing that? Okay, something which is not monotonous and something which is not pretty old-fashioned. I think, you know, how I advise him to introduce himself is that, so he would say, good morning everyone, hello everyone, my name is Harshal, and I'm happy that, you know, my name goes along, my name goes with my personality. I am a person who is pretty good at networking. Harshal means happiness. You know, I've learned during my 2 years of work ex that how being a good team member matters a lot if you want to achieve leadership position in your corporate world eventually. So what Harshal is trying to do here is Harshal is trying to tell them that his name is Harshal, and his name and his personality, they are like, you know, go hand in hand. So he's kind of a person who's positive, you know, he networks with people, he keeps everybody happy along, and I think this has a good side of being a good team member, because everybody wants to be a leader. You know, everybody wants to be a CEO, CFO, CMO, CPO, you know, all that CX, so everybody want to be. But before that, you got to be a good team member. If you're not a good team member, forget that you'll be a good team leader. Okay, so that's how Harshal connects himself. So that's number 1. Number 2 would be, say, for example, if your name is, say, Gaurav, okay. So if you're Gaurav, okay, how we should be helping, rather how you should be introducing yourself. So, hi sir, my name is Gaurav, it means pride. Throughout my life, I've understood, like for me, given any task, I never kind of discriminate in that. For anything that I do, small thing or big thing, I always take pride in it, and I give my 110% into it. Okay, so Gaurav means pride, and he takes pride in whatever things that he do in his life. So that's how we can connect. Okay, that's the way you can connect. So if you have a name, you know, which sounds pretty cool, you know, you have a name which has a meaning attached to it, and if you feel that your personality goes along with that name, I think you should definitely try introducing yourself along with your name and explain the meaning of your name. Yeah, how many people do actually know the meaning of their name? Nobody. I'm sorry, but a couple of people, you know, not everybody, you know. So I think this is something different that you guys can do to attract your panelists, to kind of, you know, engage them with yourself. So tell them your name and start with your name, that my name is so and so forth, and this goes along with my personality. Are you guys with me? Okay, fine. So this is point number 1. Okay, one more advice. Okay, one free advice to you guys. Try and engage your panelist with you. Okay. 99% of people fail to do this, and their personal interview has always been bizarre. Okay, they always tell me, sir, my interview went on for 5 minutes. Yeah, because as I said in the last video also, dude, you had nothing interesting in your introduction that they could stick around you for more than 5 minutes. You were boring, you were monotonous, you were following those pretty old-fashioned introductions. Then you know why the hell I should be listening to you. Simple. So always try to engage your panelist. And the most important funda of clearing PI, you can right there and there you will understand if I am going to get selected in this college, or if my panelists are interested in me, in my profile. And that only one thing that can decide is the moment you have a discussion format. Okay, the moment you indulge yourself in, with the panelists in a discussion format, you can be very well assured that yes, now it's not an interview, it's not a formal interview. Now they are discussing with you, okay, where you see yourself, why did you do that? Okay, so your name is pretty cool, okay, so what are your experiences and all that. So the moment you feel that my interview is no more an interview, it's more of a discussion, a corporate discussion, then guys, you are sorted. Yeah, and I always tell my students, never take your personal interview as a personal interview, which every goddamn institute out there will tell you कि यार PI के लिए prepare करो, यार थोड़ा seriously prepare करो. No, it's not your PI. It is not your PI. I have given heck lot of interviews in my life. I have never taken it as PI. For me, it's a pure business meeting. Yeah. And I tell my every student, you are not going for a PI. You are going for a business meeting, and you got to behave mature. Okay, simple. So the first point is name. If you have a good name, you can start with the meaning of your name. Connect your name with the personality. Okay, and yeah, make sure that you talk sense. You do not talk nonsense out here. नहीं तो अपना नाम बता रहे हो और वहाँ से ले रहे हो, ऐसा नहीं चलेगा, ठीक है? So you got to be very, very careful when you introduce yourself. Okay, that's number one. All right, now let's go to the point number two. The second point is define yourself. Now this something is this is something new. Yeah, this is something, define yourself. So do you have a definition of your own? Now this is a little tough, guys, and let me help you out. Okay, what do you mean by define yourself? Now this is not to do with your profile, your work case, your academics, your family, your native, nothing. This is you as a person, flat. Okay, how do you define yourself as a person? Like, so I'm gonna help you. So define and belief. What are your beliefs in your life? What is that one strong thing that you are quite faithful about? What is that one strong thing that you believe a lot? Okay, so I'll tell you what is most favorite of mine. If I were to introduce myself, how would I do that? Okay, let's have a quick look at it. Okay, so if you have any queries, if you want to get in touch, you can definitely like my Facebook page. Here you can see me live sometimes, or you can message me. You can put your queries in here. If you want to get in touch with me, this is my number, and this is the YouTube channel that I have separately. So guys, I wish you all the very best. Work really hard for next couple of days. You have achieved till date. You've cracked the exam. This is the last stage, guys, that you have. Please do not screw it up. Work hard, and I wish you all the very best. Make sure you crack the call that you have. Okay, good luck, guys. Take care of yourself. Bye bye.